Morning, Oj. Welcome to Studio One here on the last day of Christmas vacation. Back to the salt mines tomorrow.
One hell of a break. Well, for me it was. You had some little bit of difficulty at times with some travel, but we don't need to get into that unless you want to. Yeah, it was a long break. January, what is it? January 5th tomorrow?
Yeah, today is January 4th.
Sheesh. Yeah, it was a good one though. Probably wasted about 3 snow days.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And that ticks me off, when you get those over break. That was the blizzard of whatever it was called, Blizzard Ezra or something like that.
Yeah.
That was a doozy. We didn't get the snow like Marquette did. They got their just pounded.
Sounds like Marquette got it worse than here.
36 plus inches, but the winds down the lake were just ferocious. We've gone through probably 3 different phases of ice and snow over this 2-week span, where we had 2 layers of just mountains of ice protection out there. That storm wiped out one of them, where all of a sudden the water was now 20 yards from shore compared to 50, and today it's you can't see water, just ice and snow as far as you can see out there. So the Mother Nature's done some weird things to the Great Lake Gitche Gumi, but yeah, we're ready to roll. Get back to school and some healthy living again.
Yeah. So at what point on this 2-week hiatus did you forget what day of the week it was?
It's been tough. It has.
I know. That's my complaint with this long break, is like you're 3 days in, you have nothing really going, and you don't even know what day of the week it is.
I didn't even care what day of the week it was, to tell you the truth. It didn't matter. I wasn't disappointed in myself when I got it wrong, that's for sure. But yeah, I guess the only thing I did was kind of work my schedule around which football games I was going to watch. There were certainly plenty of those, and there's some big ones today also.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into the college football playoff. Again, dragging it out. That's the part that drives me nuts. But the games were pretty enjoyable to watch. Let's start with the Miami and Ohio State game.
Yeah, we can go on and on about that whole scheduling thing, and maybe it'll go to 16 next year and start it right away. These games right when the season's over. I mean, the fact that we're going to be watching the national title game on January 19th is insane.
It is.
It's absolutely
it's
insane.
ridiculous.
But I don't want to get into that. So we'll talk about the games. Miami and Ohio State, one hell of a game. My biggest take on that was just, and I hadn't watched Miami much, or I don't know if I watched the full game of them this year. I don't think I did. Bits and pieces. They are ferocious up front. That D line, I mean, they really get after it. And I thought they bullied Ohio State. They just kept grinding on them, and that fourth quarter, all of a sudden those 2-yard gains were turning into 5- and 6-yard gains. They were the more physical football team, and you know as well as anyone that generally that leads to good things for your team, and that's what I thought the biggest difference was in that game, and the biggest factor in Miami winning.
Well, without a doubt, the Miami up front. But Ohio State's not bad. And they, like you said, they bullied them around. The Ohio State quarterback throwing the pick 6, and Ohio State missing the field goal.
What was your thought on that pick 6? Was that just obviously the kid jumped it. That's a tough block.
It is, but
you got to get it.
He's the best player in college football. But it was a great play by the defense. They obviously they picked up on some tendencies there. Great play by Miami. And again, if he makes the block, it's probably an incomplete pass, maybe 1 or 2 yard gain. But Ohio State made some mistakes. The missing of the field goal, the pick 6 led to your difference in the score. But I don't think there's anyone that thinks Miami isn't the better team.
Yeah, there's
Miami. And again, remember 2 weeks ago we were listening to people bitch about how Miami shouldn't even be in and this and that, and they win their conference, and they have as good of a chance as anybody to win the whole thing.
And that goofy-looking Carson Beck, their quarterback, I mean, the guy looks like he's either stoned or recovering from being stoned, whatever. I mean, just completely looks out of it. But he gets the job done, and he's, I don't know, how old is he, 27?
Yeah.
He's been around. He was Georgia's quarterback.
Right.
Yeah. So speaking of those quick screens out there, and they get those guys in open space, and you got to make those quick blocks. Boy, there seems to be a lot of that, eh?
Yeah.
The quickest way, I guess, to get your athletes in space, try to make that block and get those guys freed up along the sidelines. But there's a lot of those plays by every team, it seems like.
Well, again, against teams, especially teams that can bring the pressure up front. I mean, it's a glorified handoff is what it is.
Right.
Right? It's, again, just getting your guy in space instead of running it between the tackles, hoping to get a block. Zip it out to your athlete and get a block out there. And
defensively, you got to be so sound with it. You can't. You don't want to free up or get your outside shoulder blocked down. You got to keep that free, or whatever your rules are.
Right.
With the corners and the safeties that are out there, and the leverage that you got to do, and it's usually those plays seem like they're 1 or 2 yard gains, or they can go.
Right.
But there's a lot of them. So yeah, that was a fun game. Poor Ryan Day and the Buckeyes. I certainly feel bad for them, and hope they can bounce back and have another great year next year.
Not. Let's move on to Oregon and Texas Tech. Oregon's pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought that might be a better game than it was, but and I was a little bit surprised how well defensively Oregon played.
Oh, they were outstanding. Texas, they forced 4 turnovers, I think, right?
Yeah.
Texas Tech turned the ball over 4 times, so you're not going to win doing that. But I certainly did not see a shutout coming. I did have the under in that game, by the way. But yeah, Oregon was they were great. I wouldn't even say they were great. They were very good defensively. Forced mistakes offensively. Texas Tech's really good on D. They're one of the top D fronts in the country. Some of the top players defensively in the country. But I would guess if you would have asked most Texas Tech fans if you hold Oregon to 23 points, probably be okay with that and think you had a chance to win it. But that was not the case.
Yeah, I think Oregon was very methodical in how they played, right? I don't think it was anything flashy. They played very solid on defense, which again was the surprising part to me. I thought there would be some points scored, more points scored. But they played well. They're going to be a tough out as well.
That was my. I think I told you that. That was my little. I took a flyer on them to win it all.
Okay.
A few weeks back. So, as we speak, Parlay Pete.
Let's move on to it. The best game of it. Indiana and Alabama.
Well, it was the most fun. As far as if you're a Big Ten fan and a Cincinnati fan and everything that the Hoosiers have done, and anti-SEC, I guess, everything that we are, anti-Paul Feinbaum. I didn't see it coming. I figured it was going to be a tight game. I didn't even take Indiana to cover. I was nervous about it.
What was the spread?
I think they were 7.
They were touchdown.
Something like that, 6.5, 7. That was a complete ass whooping. No other way to say it. Both sides of the ball. What did they have? Like 50 rushes for 200 whatever. Mm-hmm. They threw when they wanted to, not when they had to. The whole game, right? It was just they stayed on schedule offensively. Really, really did. Other than that first drive, I think they got sacked right in opening, maybe twice in the opening series. Mendoza, what is he? 16 out of 19 or something screwy, outstanding. I think they broke the will of Alabama. In that second half, there was a lot of head hanging, and they softened them right up. Mm-hmm. Crimson Tide. Indiana did to Alabama what Alabama with Saban had done to teams for years.
Yeah, and it comes down to Alabama could not run we knew they weren't going to run the ball on Indiana, but their struggles to run the ball, maintain possession, and Indiana is so good up front, both sides of the ball.
I didn't know this, and I think we were texting a little bit with Jesse from Appleton.
Yep, I have that right there in my notes.
The offensive line coach?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Did you know that prior to?
I did not know prior to. I found out through texting with Jesse, and then I was actually just talking with somebody about that yesterday as well.
Yeah, he, obviously Wisconsin had that great tradition of developing big-time offensive linemen, big-time running games, and
Right.
great running backs. Back when Wisconsin was Wisconsin, I'm not sure what they are now, but yeah, that O-line coach obviously knows how to get the job done. Fun to watch. Can't wait to see those guys play again. I've totally changed my mind on Cincinnati.
I have too, and here's the conversation I had yesterday. I was talking with somebody who was coached by that O-line guy, by the way, and we were just talking about it, and you and I are on record. Like he just came across as arrogant and cocky, and like, come on, dude, you're at Indiana. But I think I really have changed my tune on him because he's consistent. He does exactly what they said they're going to do. And maybe his confidence came across as arrogant in our capacity because it's Indiana, but
he probably played that up a little early on too,
and the media probably sensationalized it a little bit too. But
hey, any guy that wears a frickin' 3/4 zip pullover with no shirt underneath it, has his readers hanging off the zipper, you make my team.
But he's very consistent in his demeanor and his approach, and like I said, I've switched gears. I'm a Cignetti fan. I kind of expected them to, because you see so many guys that come in. Well, we're going to be the most disciplined team in football. We're going to be the best offensive line in football, and yada yada yada. And 6 weeks later, it's be right back to the same old stuff. But we've chronicled his past and how he was at Alabama, went through the D2 ranks to that lower Division I ranks.
He was at James Madison also, right?
Yeah, his dad was a coach.
Wide receivers coach and recruiting coordinator originally with Saban.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
So how about this with this? We're talking, and I think one of the things that when you look at the great programs, you got to have support from your administration, right? It's got to come from the top down, and when you don't, you have problems. How about the fact that Indiana, they hired Cignetti, right? Which again, they've been Indiana forever, though, which we're going to recycle coaches. But how about the athletic department putting the money into the facilities and buying into what Coach Cignetti is doing, and to get that university to put all that money into the football program? Like, that had to be a little bit nerve-wracking, trying to get your board of regents or whatever it is to commit that much money to a guy that says he's going to do this.
Right.
They're looking good with it now, though.
Oh. Yeah, and I think they locked him up, right? Contract-wise.
7 years, I believe.
So yeah, they're fun to watch. That Mendoza's a little goofball. His post-game interviews are something else. I mean, that he's but when it comes game time, he's damn good. So
how about another fun fact in this game? What role did Gene Hackman play in this game?
Yeah, did you send me that? Or did
I think it was Jesse.
Might have been him, eh? Yeah, that was pretty cool. So I guess the question was, how was that worded?
I don't even know if it was a question other than
or
something to who is Gene Hackman rooting for, because he was in movies that had both of the nicknames.
Yeah.
Right, Hoosiers and then Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide, yeah.
Okay, and then let's move on to our last game, Ole Miss and Georgia.
That was a hell of a game.
What a story.
And it's still a story with that whole coaching situation and those assistants. Man alive, I enjoyed the hell out of that game. It was outstanding, right to the finish. Matt and I watched the whole thing, and it was that. I don't know what else to say. That you can talk about, big time quarterback performances in bowl games, the tournament since we've had it, whatever, how long you want to go back. But in recent memory, can you think of a better one than what Trinidad Chambliss did that night?
Not really.
I mean, it was impressive.
I'm sure there's been some great performances, but the fact that it's him really elevates it, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, we're and obviously Ferris State got a little bit of press that night and publicity, so it was.
And he did it against Georgia. He didn't do it against Tulane or James Madison, right? It's Georgia, who, to be quite honest, was probably the odds-on favorite to win the whole tournament.
I would say. I think they were. I think they're their Vegas odds were the best to win it all. Ohio State second, now they're both gone. So,
Which, before we move on, how many teams in 2 years now have had the bye and won?
well, just one.
Indiana's
It's
the only
one.
one.
They're one in the bye teams are 1-7 right now. So I don't know. Well, you change that by maybe by getting 16 teams in there
And getting rid of it.
playing through it. But that was just a great game. I think my biggest take on that was I thought Kirby Smart got a little bit too just gambling a little bit too much. Did some odd things there late in that game when Ole Miss made their comeback. They had a 21-12 lead at halftime, and I was a little confused by some of the decisions.
Like he was worried that he wouldn't be able to stop them and needed to keep the ball.
Yeah, and he had that obviously the disaster of that second fake punt attempt. He had said that was, I think that's when they went in punt formation, then ran up.
Yeah.
And then they snapped the ball, and they weren't supposed to snap the ball, right?
Right.
But he didn't. That's the way it came off. He took the blame. It's on the coaches. So there was a communication issue there, and that quarterback got drilled. Chambliss, for all the passing that they did and all the running, he didn't get hit much that game.
No.
Unlike unlike Gunnar Henderson or Gunnar
Stockton.
Yeah, that kid, Gunnar Henderson. I think that's a Baltimore Oriole. But boy, did he take some shots.
He did.
Holy Christ, that one was just vicious. I mean, he got blasted a few times, and he made the plays too. That guy deserves some credit because he toughed it out and made some big plays. But the biggest thing I want to ask you about that game. So they get the ball. I believe it was 1st and goal, right around a minute left. All right, Georgia has the ball, 8-yard line, 1st and goal. I think they went run, pass, maybe run. Not sure exactly the sequence, but the biggest play of that was that 3rd down, and to me, they had to make sure whatever they're doing on that 3rd down play, the play's got to end with a tackle. It cannot end with an incomplete pass because Ole Miss isn't stopping the clock. They're going to run that thing all the way down to whatever. You kick the field goal, you go to overtime, right?
I agree 100%.
And they didn't. And the quarterback tried to, he forced one to the back of the end zone that was incomplete. 50 seconds left or whatever now to kick the field goal and tie the, and then it's too much time.
I agree.
It's too much time, and it came back to bite them. And I don't know. I didn't like the play call unless you tell that quarterback you got to take a sack. You can't or scramble around and whatever. But to stop the clock with that much time in that situation, I thought it was a big mistake. How about the screwy stuff at the end though? With that, they had they threw the ball all over the place and then
I didn't even watch that.
Yeah.
I was out by then.
So they end up they got the ball back, which I was in the bathroom getting ready to go to bed, and Matt's out, hollering about, you should see this, so they ran that last play. But yeah, hell of a game, great win for Ole Miss. That's about all I'm looking forward to these next week's games. I can't wait. Thursday, right?
Thursday, Friday.
So
who are you taking? You got the Big Ten battle. You got Oregon and Indiana, and then you got Ole Miss and Miami.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at any odds.
My initial take, well, might as well talk a little bit about the spreads on these games. I'm taking, I think Indiana's going to win again. I do. They have already beaten Oregon down in Eugene a number of weeks ago. I just think they got a formula right now of mistake-free football, and I think they're going to get it done again. I think it'll be a close game, but I think like a 24-20 type win is what I'm thinking for that game. Let me get the spreads for you here and see what you think.
Can Ole Miss handle Miami?
I don't think so.
So you go to Miami, Indiana?
Yep.
I think I'd probably lean that way myself, which means it's going to be Ole Miss and Oregon. But and I'm taking away from that round the thing that stands out to me with that tournament right now is just the physical play on both sides of the ball. The offensive, defensive lines. Like if you're not physical up front on either side of the ball, you don't even stand a chance. And even teams that have been pretty good have been humbled by teams even more physical.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So we'll get these out here. So early on lines for these games, it looks like Ole Miss is plus 3.5. So Miami is a 3.5 point favorite on Ole Miss, and Indiana is -4 on Oregon right now. So we got Thursday night 7:30 Miami and Ole Miss, and Friday 7:30 Oregon Indiana. Over under is 46.5 for the Indiana game, 52.5 for. Boy, I'd like to take the under on that. I don't think that's going to get that high, but we'll see.
And we got to wait a week.
Yeah, got to wait a week.
All right. Since we've been here, since last time we taped a podcast, Michigan's had some movement in their coaching search. I think we both have agreed that, at the last time we met, we didn't have a coach, and we knew this name was out there, and I think we both liked him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we probably didn't talk about. There was just so much other noise, so much more noise around Dillingham and DeBoer, I guess. But this really looks like a perfect hire for Michigan in the situation that they're in. Such a respected guy, and what he's done at Utah for the 20+ years he was there. Mm-hmm. Watched them play a number of times over the years. Always physical, good up front. Couple good Samoan D linemen all the time. Tough, hard-nosed brand of football. Seems like that kind of guy. I see they brought his son's coming in, hey?
Yeah, and he was
the Chiefs linebacker coach.
Yeah, he was a position coach with the Chiefs. That's the other thing with this whole deal is I've always been a fan of him. I like watching Utah because, again, they're the big physical team. Usually going to be an underdog against anybody with speed and stuff. But I've always liked him. I thought he's run a great program. He's bringing in some pretty good assistant coaches. Not many holdovers from the Michigan staff, but the BYU defensive coordinator, that is a phenomenal hire. And I think his offensive coordinator coming from Utah, I think that's a good. Both of those are going to be great fits.
Yeah,
what Michigan wants to do.
I think there's about 2 to 3 that have stayed. The running back coach, Alford.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer, I think.
He's there.
And then I believe the D-line, one of the D-line coaches.
Okay.
But other than that, I know the receiver coach, linebackers. Your boy Wink is out.
Yeah, well, I mean that was inevitable there. Michigan, yeah, their bowl game was, the mistakes. Underwood, we can get into them next year, but yeah, it was. I'm fired up for it. Did you see? I know I texted you, but did you end up getting the clip of that when they did that interview with Willingham on the college game day? Did you catch that?
Yeah, and I think they were talking about snowmobiling.
They were?
Because I thought skis going on there.
Well, that's what I originally thought, and then somebody had mentioned they thought they were talking about downhill skiing because he was in Utah.
Yeah.
Skiing, but I missed the initial part of that because it was brought up by Tank Top Boy there, McAfee. And he had mentioned about getting to the UP, and I just kind of assumed right away that it was a snowmobile, and I went, well, no, maybe it was downhill skiing if he did that in Utah, because he mentioned that he said, well, there's a lot of ice over there, and then they talked about the winds, and then Saban made his crack, and he's coached in Michigan for 10 years, and never once crossed that Mackinac Bridge, so he said he suggests you fly instead of cross it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But we're happy with what happened in Michigan. I mean, all the drama, negative black eye looking at that program, and I think they've done a fabulous job of giving themselves a chance to be in position to win next year.
Yeah, and now the circus of the transfer portal.
Ah, yes.
My
boy,
goodness.
oh boy, a guy could spend 23 hours a day on Twitter seeing what's going on there.
Yeah, that's I don't know. That's a whole other.
There was a couple names I saw from Michigan that are in the portal. One was Samaj Morgan.
Yeah, well, good. You see that.
So, anything else on college football, Oj? Kind of beat this horse to death today.
No, I think we pretty much bored everybody with our thoughts on that, so let's move on.
NFL.
NFL.
What a useless day today, hey?
Well, I'll tell you who's got the toughest job on days like this for the NFL?
The people setting the lines.
You got it, the odds makers. What a circus.
This is like a bowl game. This week is like bowl season in college football. Who's playing, who's not playing?
These lines have moved from, some of them have jumped up to 2 points, because of who's
opt-outs.
Yeah, exactly, and resting, and then they're having, the other part of it is some of these teams like Houston today, for example. I think they got the Colts.
Yeah.
So the spreads there are, I think it's like 9.5, but now there's the rumors that C.J. Stroud and some of these guys will be sitting by halftime. So now, how do you make the first half over/under bets? And this, it's just craziness with all that stuff, because there is a lot of games that affect what's going to happen seed-wise in the playoffs. And games like, here's an example. So Atlanta and New Orleans play today.
Yeah.
Neither team has a chance to get in, but Tampa Bay and Carolina will be watching awful close,
very,
right?
very close.
Yeah, so Tampa beating Carolina last night, that's a big game for those teams, so they'll be watching that close. The Bears, I think they got a win to lock up the 2 seed. Your Packers, they're probably not going to play anybody. They're like a 12.5 point underdog, because they're locked into the 7 seed. The only thing that
there's nothing that can happen that changes them whatsoever.
At Philly or at Chicago, right? That's where they're sitting.
Yeah.
I just heard too, it's pretty interesting. So I was listening to this sports talk show. They comes on at noon, and they do it from the Circa, in Vegas. So there's a lot of gambling talk on it, and they were talking about these big survivor pools that are, we're talking $30,000 prizes or more. Some of these, So they're going through these, and they said this one individual has the Vikings today in his survivor pool to win it, and now he's hedged his bet and put like $5,000 on Green Bay money line. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
good move.
Yeah, so
it's a great move.
Stuff like that is going on. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a fun day. I got all kinds of thoughts and bets and everything else out there going through this, but it's a tough day for the odd makers for sure.
It really is bowl season with the opt-outs.
Oh, then the big one tonight, Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Right.
The Steelers, I don't know how the hell they lost to Cleveland. They was there for the taking, and they just lay a complete egg, and the Browns get the win.
Well, I was listening to some talking heads, and they blamed Metcalf.
Yeah, well, that's right.
His behavior took them out of that. And
two-game suspension for grabbing that Lion fan, and now he's watching today, and Aaron Rodgers has, it's a shaky crew that he's throwing to say the least. So that's the Sunday night game, and a bunch of others that matter, and some that obviously don't, but should be a fun day.
Picks. Okay, now, if I'm not mistaken, now I don't have the data on the official ledger, but there was some movement. There's been some movement here. I'm making a late push, I believe.
You're wrong.
Oh,
what happened was I could have iced it, right? I could have iced it. So I go 0-3, and I was 0-2
on Thursday.
Yeah. So that's where I'm starting to get texts from the likes of Garrett and Fairfield and Kaskin Flagon and everybody saying how this is the epic collapse. You did not take advantage, however. It was there for the taking, and you did not do it.
I know.
The two of us.
I got to be honest with you, Oj. When I made those picks, I had forgotten about it. I was driving at the time, and I was just got them done because I figured I was out of it anyway, and I wasn't putting any effort into it. And then you crapped in your lunch pail, and I
did also.
It. Yeah.
We were a combined 0 for 6 is what we were.
So you opened the door, and I slammed it right on my hand.
But there's still a chance somehow. You need another 0 for me. You are at 16, 22 and 1. I'm at 19, 19 and 1. So let's get after it.
So we got picks. Am I going first? Are you giving me the tee box?
Yeah, you can have it.
It doesn't. I mean, again, it's really a crapshoot here today. All right. I know where I want to start. And
I gotta rate these spreads. This is.
Okay. So
These spreads will probably change by the time we get to kickoff.
well,
here.
it is almost
Oh
kickoff.
shit! Yeah, we're a minute away.
Okay. All right. I'm taking the Packers plus 13.5. Vikings are rotten. Packers are playing nobody, but that's a lot of points.
All right. GB is at 13.5. You on DraftKings?
Yeah.
Okay, I will. I'm going to take the Colts at plus 9.5.
Okay.
I'm going to bank on that whole Houston, maybe a series or two for Stroud and some of those guys and resting. And the only thing that worries me there is they don't have that 44-year-old quarterback that brought that steady influence on the Colts. They got the young guys starting today, but I still think they'll hang around a little bit, maybe cover in that second half. So
okay.
Indy plus 9.5.
I'm going Houston minus 9.5 then. I'm playing to win. Playing to win, Oj.
Yeah, I can't blame you there.
And to be honest with you, it's that could be a blowout city right off the bat, even if C.J. Stroud doesn't play. I got to imagine that defense is still going to keep Riley Leonard down.
Is that who it is?
I think so.
Who's Green Bay's Toon?
Yeah.
Who is that
I
guy?
have no idea.
That's who's quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? I heard Love is actually the backup.
He is.
Malik Willis is out. I'm going to take Chicago. Bears minus 4.5 with Detroit.
Okay, that's a good pick. I'm taking my third pick. I'm taking your Cowboys minus 3.
Thank you.
How are they only minus 3 against the Giants?
That over-under has changed too. Well, it's at New York, I guess. I don't know. Maybe Dak sits in the second. Who knows? Dallas minus 3. And then... Boy. That Patriot... I'm gonna take... This usually is against my better judgment here, but I'm gonna take New England at minus 13.5. They've been... they blew out somebody last week. I think they'll do it again. They're at home. I think they're playing seed-wise a little bit here too.
Yeah.
So
If you wanted to be cool, you could take the Vikings and make this really interesting down the stretch.
no, I said I'm taking New England minus 13.5. So there we go. We'll see where that takes us in the next week. Design to Construct is a full-service commercial design and construction company located in Jackson, Wisconsin, dedicated to creating personalized building solutions to meet our clients' goals. Our lasting relationships with past customers truly help set us apart from any other design-build company.
Quick little Northern Arizona update. Getting into Big Sky tournament play, and our Lumberjacks had a rough week in the state of Montana.
Yeah.
Thursday night, they dropped 78-64 game.
Tied at half, I think, right?
I think so. They dropped it to Montana. And then yesterday they dropped the 77-68 game at Montana State. So 2 road losses to start off. Going forward this week, they'll be home versus Weber State on Thursday, and then home Saturday against the Vandals of Idaho State.
Hopefully some home cooking will help get them on a little bit of a roll here. So.
Yeah, and I think Montana State were 2 of the teams that were picked up near the top. But let's hit some listener questions today, Oj.
This will be kind of fun because
you don't have the questions?
I have no idea what these questions are. So I've prepared. I generally prepare very little for these podcasts, but this is taking it to another level.
Well, I do got to apologize. Usually I have the lesson plan all printed out.
Yeah, that's part of it.
But
my
printer is out of ink, and as anybody that has a home printer knows, it's cheaper to just buy a new printer than to get replacement ink things, and plus I just haven't paid any attention to it.
Before we get on those questions, speaking of college hoops, see, Michigan was held under 100 points the other night.
Yes.
USC did a nice job holding to 88. They were minus 23.5, and Michigan won by 25, so they did cover that way. But I thought, that's a pretty good job defensively to hold that mighty Wolverine team into the high 80s. They are unbelievable.
They are tough. I've watched them twice now.
And deep. They're man, they're good. They're just really fun to watch.
They guard you, then they pressure you, and then they run up and down the floor. And yeah, Dusty May is doing one hell of a job there.
And then the other part of that is Michigan State lost a toughie.
Yeah.
And Nebraska, of all teams, Fred Hoiberg's got them playing. They're undefeated. First time in school history they've had a record like this. And Michigan State went to Nebraska the other day. Didn't watch the game. Early we watched it and then switched to whatever. But 58-56, State got beat, and then Nebraska stormed the court.
Yeah.
So did you see Izzo's?
I did.
Yeah.
He was hoping he was going to get trampled.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. They showed emotion, and it's a big win for them. I don't care. And somebody asked him about the safety part of his. I wish they would have trampled me.
He's been kind of a interview god as of late with his talk on the transfer portal stuff, the guy getting drafted and back and forth.
Oh,
and,
Jesus.
I've really enjoyed Coach Izzo's interviews as of late.
Yeah, he's been pretty witty to say the least. So.
All right, we have Matt from Minneapolis.
Ooh.
Matt from Minneapolis. I just spent a week there 2 days ago. All right, dear Crouchy Oj, thoughts on Michigan's new football coach being so passive in his intro interviews? For example, saying, and I quote, guesses he doesn't like Ohio State. Also, what is your favorite Drake May stat? Thank you tenfold, Matt from Minneapolis.
I thought his press conference was outstanding. I think Matt from Minneapolis is trying to dig at us a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think what he's referring to, though, would be when they finally did get onto the subject of the Buckeyes, and they asked, do you hate or dislike Ohio State or whatever? And he said, well, I do now. And then he went, I guess.
Yeah.
You know. So I think that's where he's getting at. But
why would he hate Ohio State for the last... I mean, Urban Meyer was his mentor. Again, now he's at Michigan. He's obviously going to dislike Ohio State, right? It's the game. But
it wasn't quite Jim Harbaugh, when he first got there. But I thought it was a pretty damn good press conference. So.
It was outstanding. And it was as you would expect with Kyle Whittingham.
And all I'll say about Drake May is, and maybe we brought this up a little bit last week, or last time we were here, two things. Matt Stafford, I think his last two games he's played himself out of the MVP. I think he has.
As my quarterback in the fantasy football championship game, Matthew Stafford could retire as of right now too.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew this, but he threw 3 picks last week.
Well,
and I was in the championship game. He was my quarterback.
I can sense your
not
frustration.
Not that I hold grudges, and he is dead to me from here on out.
Okay, so this has turned into a Matt Stafford question, but I think Drake May is the MVP. I don't know what other stats you want to say. He's been outstanding. I think he's consistency throughout. Maybe had that one bad second half, I think, when they got beat by Buffalo, maybe. Somebody like that came back. He didn't play very well in the second half, but he's been great. Seems to be saying all the right things, doing all the right things. Vrabel's done a hell of a job with the Patriots, and the guy, I think he's going to get the MVP.
I can't argue with it. Like I said, up until last week, the other guy was probably your odds-on favorite, but did I mention they threw 3 picks?
Yeah, my favorite stat is they're 13-3 or whatever they are, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's my favorite stat, right? You're a winner, you're quarterback, and you win. Okay?
All right, what's next?
We got Lewis from Chandler. Hey, Crouchy Oj, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Just watched Arch Manning run for a 60-yard TD against the Wolverines. Sorry to the Michigan fans. And announcers start talking about Heisman again for him next year. Got me thinking. When will the NCAA get rid of preseason rankings and let the teams play some games to rank them? Or would you guys change anything about preseason rankings in college football? He's 100% right. Right? We gave the Heisman to Arch in July last year. He crapped in his lunch pail early and came through, played well, had a good game against Michigan, and we're right back into anointing him. So.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, they're never going to get rid of those preseason rankings. They're going to be out in about January 20th.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but they throw that stuff out there, and that's all part of it, right? once they evaluate all the transfer portal stuff and they'll put those out there. Yeah, I don't know. He's. I mean, to his credit, like you said, he has really improved as the season's gone on. If the
for sure,
part of that.
for sure.
And I thought he was outstanding against Michigan in that game. He threw the ball really well and made plays with his feet too. So,
but a lot of that stuff too, and I think part of this question is all that hype at the beginning of the year. It can never help you. It can never help a team like Texas or Arch Manning. As we go into the season next year, Texas is going to be rated high, and Arch Manning's going to be your favorite. I'm sure if you looked on DraftKings, he's probably the favorite to win it, and maybe he will, but I just don't know that you can ever live up to those expectations.
You have to look at the coaches. Let's go talk about Nick Saban. How many years was Alabama preseason? We're talking in January, February, whenever these rankings come out.
Yeah.
He dealt with that. You got to handle it a certain way as a coach, a coaching staff, where those expectations are put on you months before the season starts. He did well with it, right? And because Alabama was always going to be ranked number 1 or 2 going into the next year. But yeah, it puts a little target on your back too once the season starts.
And it's more for just people to talk about, right? I mean, as a coach, like you said, like Coach Saban, his job is to minimize the nonsense with that stuff with his team and keep his team focused. But I don't think you're going to ever get rid of him because too many people gives him something to talk about. And to be honest, like I said, if you're just a fan, it gives you something to talk about sitting around having a cocktail.
I can't wait to see where Michigan's going to be ranked. I can't wait.
All right, so thank you, Lewis from Chandler. Is he off suspension now? I think you suspended him.
Did I?
Yeah.
What, was that for yapping about how I pronounce Oregon?
Yeah.
Right. He's good to go.
Okay. All right. Crouchy Oj. Happy New Year to both of you. May 2026 be an even better year. This is a long question. For all of us, maybe I missed the memo, but when did it become allowable for MLB and NFL players to wear jewelry during games? Especially in football, this practice seems to be dangerous. Do you see a future major injury occurring because of jewelry, or is this a non-issue? Given my substantial winnings in the SS3TP Survivor Pool, Garrett from Fairfield and I are considering a visit to the Keweenaw during the summer. We are looking for some must-do activities during our potential Keweenaw visit. For a certain, a visit to Dreamland is on our list. In case you didn't know, it's located on the Boojak Road in lovely Lake Linden. Appreciate your thoughts. It's been a while since we were last in the Promised Land. I wonder if Normal Matthew might have some suggestions for the best place to catch frogs. Caskin, Flagon, Dwayne.
Oh, yeah, well, that would be fun if they can pull that off.
Yep.
The jewelry part of that question.
He's obviously buying, right? Winning. He's buying.
Yeah, with that split pot.
Yep.
For sure. The first player that I remember that was wearing jewelry, and he might not have been the first one, but it was Dion.
Yeah.
I remember him with gold necklaces when he was playing for the Niners before a Cowboy, and he probably had them on when he was batting leadoff for the Yankees. He just seemed to be that first guy with the flash that wore that stuff. And
did Dave Parker have something too? Why is Dave Parker's name coming to mind? Did he have a big chain on or something?
He may have. Well, I think didn't he?
The sledgehammer.
The sledgehammer in the batting.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
When he was on deck, or Willie Stargell made it. I don't know, one of those two. But Michael Irvin wore the. Boy, is he having fun with him.
We got to get him off the TV. Come on.
It's intensity.
Did you see him take his shirt off and belt off and slap the... Come on.
Hey, it's real intensity. He's lived it. He's been that way he's been his whole life. Let him go.
It's redundant. Well, yeah, on your sideline.
You.
Yeah, that's great when you're winning, but what if it's a tight game? I think Coach Cristobal needs to put a little belt to his ass.
Is he wound up?
Yeah, it's freaking annoying. It is. It's disgusting.
Yeah, question took
jewelry, I couldn't care less. Again, you're wearing it for another "hey, look at me" thing. That's.
Do the NBA players wear? Can they?
Who knows? I don't think so. I don't know.
I can't picture.
But I mean, you got the wide receivers he has like the $1 million necklaces. Come on, guys. Let's be for real.
I'm wondering about the NBA. I'm having a tough time picturing necklaces on these guys.
I don't think they are.
So it's just the.
It seems like MLB players have always had jewelry on. It's just as of late well, not late, but like NFL. But you're just wearing it for, hey, look at me, which again I'm opposed to.
Yeah, well, let's keep the planning for the summer there, Caskin Flagon and Garrett from Fairfield, and we'll make sure that we have a solid time up here in the Great Northwoods.
All right. Howdy, boys.
Howdy, Paul.
Howdy, Paul. Happy New Year. Is Trinidad Chambliss a first-round draft pick? Would you take him before Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore? If he's granted an extra year of eligibility, do you see him at LSU? I would have a hard time thinking with this quarterback class, if Trinidad does not get that extra year, I would have a hard time thinking he's not a first-round draft pick. I mean, I don't think it's a great quarterbacking
It's not.
draft.
I wouldn't take him before Fernando Mendoza. I don't think Trinidad Chambliss's style is going to be sustainable in the NFL, especially with his size. You know, the one I thought of it, or I thought it was a really good comparison during the game. They mentioned him looking like a young Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty good.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Well, there's another one, but it's a weak class. I think Mendoza's going to be the first one, probably to the Jets. God bless his soul.
Or Raiders.
Yeah, that might even be worse. They'll probably be looking for a coach too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm guessing he's late first round. We'll see what happens here the next couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, he's got a lawsuit there, and I do think if he gets that extra year of eligibility, which he's got to, right? The NCAA is dysfunctional. I can see him going to LSU. Why wouldn't you? I mean, you're right. You've been at Ole Miss for 9 months.
Where did he go in Grand Rapids? What school was it?
It was
Forest Hills.
Forest Hills Northern, maybe. I think it was a Forest Hills.
He was a hell of a basketball player too. They
Yeah.
said, in high school.
Well, he's really the story of the tournament. I mean, for everything, all the other teams, Ferris State gets a lot of love on national TV games. I think he'll be a first-round pick if he goes this year. I don't know. It's hard to evaluate. I've only watched him a couple times here, playing at Ole Miss. Granted, I still have nightmares when he played at Ferris, but that's a story for another day. And Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza's, whatever. It is what it is there. Dante Moore's another Michigan kid too.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, Martin Luther King. He's from Martin Luther King.
Okay.
So, thanks, Paul from Boise. Located 8 miles south of Lake Linden on the Bojack Road, the Dreamland Restaurant is your choice for great dining. Family owned and operated for over 100 years. Whether in the mood for Mexican Monday specials, burgers, pizza, or a Friday fish fry, Dreamland is your next stop. Time for a little listen to the lyrics, and we got a little different twist to this one today. Hey,
Yeah, I didn't really write anything up. I'm kind of curious to see if any of our listeners have more information than I do, which wouldn't be hard. I got a little bit of info from our boy Parlay Pete over in Copper City,
Okay.
who has met this individual. But there's not a ton like Wikipedia on him. I've read some articles and stuff.
You get listed the lyrics off Wikipedia?
Well, no, I've tried to. Well, with this guy, I didn't know. I wanted to find out first of all where he was originally from, because I've heard rumors about this and that. But it's all kind of like he seems like he's lived a little bit of a nomadic type life. I don't know. Anyway, the guy's name is Eric Koskinen, which obviously the last name, familiar Finnish name from the area, right?
Oh,
Koskinen's around. So Eric Koskinen is, I think, probably late 40s. He's got 6, 7, maybe 8 albums that he's released since the earlier 2000s, I guess. He just released one in 2024. So he's at it where, in the music industry enough now where I think he's made it. He's not working a side job. He's been good enough. I think he's open for Billy Strings and other people. Might have been involved in producing a little bit. But from what I've got, his mother was from Colorado. I read that his dad. Did you know who Teemu Koskinen was? Do you remember that name?
I've heard the name.
And it listed that his dad was from Finland, and I don't know if that's true or not. This was just in an article. Now Pete knew his dad.
Okay.
and he had lived in the valley. So I think at some point, Eric Koskinen was in the valley with his dad. I think he actually attended the Houghton schools for a while.
Okay.
But he went out to New York. Like you said, he was in Colorado. And that's where the music really started, out east, I guess, in New York. And he's put together some pretty cool albums. He's got a great sound to him. There's the dog. How's that make you feel, Crouchy? And I've just been listening to him a lot lately. And I know Jesse from Appleton's a big fan of his. He's probably listened. I know he's listened to him more than I have. Pete as well. And it's pretty cool that he's, you know, Finlander that's got some ties and has made it in the business. So I might be wrong with some of this stuff. If anybody knows more about it or about him, please feel free to let us know. But I played a song for him off of his 2019 album. He's kind of a bluesy folk country guy. The album was called Burning the Deal, and the song is called Losers Like You and Me, and I thought that was appropriate for us, in this podcast.
All right. All right, Oj, that's going to bring episode 122 to a close. Man, it'll be exciting. It's exciting to get back and see the children and hear how their Christmas vacation went tomorrow.
Yeah, it sure will. And we'll be back, I think, probably next week, right? We'll get together again and do this, and then we'll see from there what our schedule is. But we'll have some football games to talk about, and playoff NFL football, and of course the college games. So
We're going to have an interview too.
we are.
We are.
I got a couple lined up here too.
Good.
We'll talk off the air.
Perfect. See you, Oj.
Talk to you later, Crouchy.